I mean, it doesn't really matter. Whatever the schedule says, you play. It is. It's not ideal that we have two back-to-backs basically in the first week. 5 games in 8 days is a lot, particularly at the top of the season when the guys who play big minutes are still ramping up to get to that level. So it's not an easy schedule, but the schedule isn't easy for anybody. So there's no complaints. It's just how do you handle them. You saw the way we handled it in Portland. Nobody played more than about 25 minutes. We didn't play very well, but we didn't overtax anybody either. So I think we should be literally in better shape going into this back-to-back because we had yesterday off, today a good practice, and we're a week in. We're 3 games in, so guys should have better rhythm. Al won't play tomorrow, and he will play against the Clippers. And other than that, we'll lean into our depth and keep playing people, in combinations that we believe in, and hopefully use our depth to get through this next back-to-back.
How much of that decision with Al is based on the matchups, Memphis versus Clippers?
I mean, it's we always take that into consideration. So, against Portland, that was a pretty easy choice dealing with Jokic, I would say this one is a much more difficult decision because Memphis, Jaren Jackson's obviously a great player, but we opted to play him against the Clippers. Zubac has given us trouble. It's a really big team. So that's the way we'll go in this one.
And on those back-to-back games, when you are playing your regulars, but you might not want to overtax them, what is kind of like the score range you're looking at to be like, hey, like let's shut it down, let's take it easy versus let's put the pedal to the metal and try to go for a win?
It's really a feel thing. We go into those games mapping out minutes, and you try to stay with it. I think we had Steph mapped out at 28 against Portland. We went into it knowing we were going to try to buy him 2 extra minutes per half. But that's always just a plan, and you throw that out the window depending on how the game's going. And if that had been a tight game, we would have gone back to Steph, played Jimmy more, etc. But it's a combination of the score, but also the circumstances. 3 games in 3 cities in 4 nights, and then you feel the way that game was going from the late second quarter on. We weren't going to chase that one.
Just what do you take away from the first week overall? Like you mentioned, 3 games in 3 cities in 4 days, going 2-1. You feel like it was a good week?
It's a great week. We always we break the season into segments, weekly segments, and we talk every week about let's win the week. It's a little bit like baseball. Let's win the series. If you win the series over and over again in baseball, you're going to win 90 or 100 games. If you win the week more often than not in the NBA, you're going to win 50 plus, and that's kind of the goal. So given the circumstances, great week. I also liked that we were really exposed against Portland in some ways that I needed to be better as a coach and prepare our players better. And so that was a very instructive game for us as a staff. And so we were able to see some of the areas where we really need more work.
What are some of those areas?
Well, playing against switching for sure. Portland switched everything 1 through 5 when they went to their small lineups, and their pressure bothered us. We didn't have good spacing, and this is part of what the early season entails, is because you can't get everything in a 3-week training camp, but you get to see where your weaknesses are early on, and you can then really apply them or work on them and apply that adjustment.
Hey, Steve. Based on what Joseph was asking earlier about the back-to-backs, is it kind of different, though, when you're playing an 8 p.m. game here on the West Coast versus maybe on the East, as you sometimes do?
Is the back-to-back different?
And then playing the back-to-back, the second game at 8 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, that's an adjustment this year, with the new TV schedule. We are going to have some 8 p.m. starts. I don't know that it's really a big adjustment. You know, you do get the extra hour of rest if it's the second game. You get an hour less rest if it's the first game. So, you know, these are not really things that we can do anything about. So we just go out and play.
Moses Moody came back last game, played about 20 minutes. Do you expect him to play both games of the back-to-back, or?
I haven't talked to Rick about it yet, but I did talk to Moses today. He said he came out of that game feeling good. He just didn't have his rhythm or his conditioning yet. So I'll talk to Rick today.
Steve, did everybody else do everything today?
Everybody other than Melton, of course, and Tui, but yeah, everyone else was engaged in practice. Yeah.
Did that Portland game sort of give you any like ideas of how to like handle when Horford's not in, or not available? How to like supplement the spacing that he brings when he is in the game?
Yeah, the spacing needs to happen no matter what, no matter who's out there. In fact, spacing is more important the fewer shooters you have out there, because you know, a lot of guys who are traditionally, you know, not, you know, space players. Gary Payton's a great example, right? He's a great cutter, and he wants to get behind the defense. He wants to make cuts, which is great, but we have to start out with space. And we had a lot of possessions the other night where we didn't get to our space, and then you have no outlets against that kind of pressure. So the spacing was a big problem. It's something we worked on today.
Gary, just what did you learn about this team over the first week of the season? Things you want to do better, things you thought you did well, just as a team.
I think we pretty solid. Clean up the start of the games, turnovers. You know, just come prepared and ready. Just being locked in and ready from the start of the games. Take care of the ball. You know, get our spacing right, whatnot. Transition defense, I believe, just getting back and building the wall when we need to. We did a lot of things good. Once we get in the right space and, you know, run the floor, good things happen. So just focus on, you know, trying to create that picture over and over again.
Steve mentioned that one of the things that might have given you guys trouble against Portland is the way that they switch. When a team is switching 1 through 5 kind of aggressively, what are the keys to countering that?
We just got to set screens. Be able to set screens, low screens on the defender. You know, just create a pocket so, you know, when they do switch, we got an advantage on them, and just continue to, like I said, see that, get that picture, and, you know, and just rep it.
Are there any difference between how back-to-backs feel early in the season as opposed to later in the season?
You don't get them later in the season, and hopefully for playoff contention teams that gives you a little bit more time to rest on the back end. So kind of don't mind them getting them out the way early, but it's a slippery slope. Depends on how you handle the early ones.
Do you feel you guys are equipped to handle the early ones?
Yeah, think so. Got a couple bets in here, so got to manage them properly. But I think we'll be all right.
With the turnover, fixing the turnovers, how do you sort of distinguish between like turnovers that are good and are getting the flow of the game and turnovers that you just can't have?
Unforced turnovers is probably the ones you shouldn't have, and just being patient, and that comes along with the spacing. Once we get the spacing, we should be able to clean up those turnovers and take care of the ball more.
What have you made of the way that Will has played so far on both ends, but particularly on the defensive end?
He's picking up a lot of things quickly. He has great teachers, great vets. So you know, it's been showing. Somebody, I think Steve said it looks like he's like in third, fourth year already. So that's pretty encouraging, and I know that's gives him a lot of more confidence. You know, to have that type of you know, confidence from your coach early. So just continue to do what he does and keep learning, and I think he'll still be in this rotation, you know, later down the season.
He plays a similar role-ish to you, similar position. Are you one of those great teachers, great vets that he has?
Oh, absolutely. From everybody, you know, from the young guys that's been here for a little bit, Everybody's been, giving him a little tricks and trades of, what he can do and just trying to continue to add to his game. But he's a smart player. He's a champion. So, he knows how to play the right way.
You and Steve have mentioned the turnovers being attributed to spacing. I was wondering, what is something about the spacing that you could do, or the team could do better? Like, is there a particular set or something that you guys are struggling with, or just?
No, just getting space in transition. Stay in space and letting our guys, with our playmakers, operate with space. Don't try to, crowd the ball. When we run, just get to our spots in spacing and transition, and good things will happen. Good. You guys are great.
Moses, how do you feel? First game in Portland, had a couple days off. Just how do you feel physically? Do you feel ready for more minutes, or still kind of taking it day by day?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm ready to go. I feel great.
How serious was the calf thing that you were dealing with?
It was really minor, no structural damage or anything. I got the MRI and everything, but really was just strengthening it and precautionary. I'm in a good place.
You were shooting it really well in the preseason. Have you been able to continue shooting and everything while you were recovering?
Yeah, I've been able to keep getting shots up, still feeling good.
How do you sort of, getting back into like the rotation and everything, how do you sort of see yourself fitting into like some of the bigger lineups that you guys have been able to run?
Yeah, control what I can, so bringing what I bring to the table, defense, knocking down shots, whatever the game calls for. So that's on me to do, and then the rest plays itself out.
When you're dealing with like coming back to like a lineup and getting your rhythm back, is it harder to like, get your rhythm like shooting, or is it harder defensively to get back into that flow?
Good question. I would say just it's a different flow for different groups that you're on the floor with. So just finding your group, finding your role within that group takes some getting used to. But defensively, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. You once you got the rotations down, once you got the principles, then I think that comes back pretty fast.